First, giving our praises, honor, and glory to our Father, Yahweh, Bahashem, Mashiach, Yahweh Shai. All praises due. Double honors to our King and Shepherd, KD, of the Royal House of David. The Wada, my King, for edifying our family with the truth and knowledge of who we are as Hebrew Israelites. The Wada King for building the Royal House of David on the foundation of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. All praises due. Shalom, shalom, shalom to my Aquas, my sisters. Welcome to the Aqua channel, Daughters with Daggers, where we continuously seek edification from the truth of the scriptures. My name is Mahir Malachi, and we're back at it again today. How you guys doing, sisters? How you? Let me know how y'all doing. Let me know how y'all faring. Are y'all okay? Let me know, what's going on with you. You guys good? I pray all is well. I pray that you're standing in your squares. I pray that you keep in the faith. I pray that you, your family's well. You're still sustaining in this captivity. However, one thing we know for sure is that we are free spiritually, which is a beautiful thing. It's beautiful to be free in your mind, in your spirit, in your soul. And we have that freedom in Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. Our praises. So let's get into our study today. So we're going to go into 1 Corinthians chapter 11, okay? So this is a time that Paul the Apostle wrote the epistle to the church of Corinth. In this chapter, Paul makes it clear that Yahweh, Yahweh Shai has established his principles in order, authority, and accountability for us as Hebrew Israelites, okay? So let's get into it. Let's pull up 1 Corinthians chapter 11 in our blue letter Bible. So let's try and move this cord. Okay. And let's start at verse 1. And it reads, "Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Hamashiach. Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you." Okay. Verse 3. So my glasses are kind of twisted. Trying to see. Verse 3, "But I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is power." Okay, we heard that somewhere before, and let's look up that precept. So let's go to Ephesians 5 and 23. Ephesians 5, verse 23. And it reads, "For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Hamashiach is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body." Okay, all praises. So it lets us know that our husbands, our kings, our men of the Lord, they're the head of us. Okay, and then their head is Hamashiach, and the head of Hamashiach is power. Okay, so let's go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 1. Now, that in saying that, I want to, we had someone that did a video and they were trying to say that they're one, Yahweh Shai and Yahweh. And it clearly states in this scripture that the head of Hamashiach is power. So they cannot be one, they're individuals. Okay, so just want to give you an understanding of that. They're not the same. The Hamashiach power is the head of Hamashiach. All praises, okay? So we're going to go back to verse 4. We're at 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 4. "Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head." So a man is not to have his head covered while praying. It's a dishonor because they're not women, okay? And we're going to go into that further as we keep reading. Verse 5, "But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head, for that is even all as if she were shaven." Okay, So as true back in this, remember this is back in the time with Paul and the church of Corinth, okay? It's not something present, but this is back in this time. A true Hebrew Israelite woman of the Lord would have her head covered. The reason being for that, because Corinth was a very sexual looseness town, okay? They were very sexually having a lot of, well, that was all on their mind, right? They even had Aphrodite, which is the goddess of sex. Her statue actually built in the city. So if you were a temple prostitute, your head was shaved. So they would shave their own heads willingly because they wanted to separate themselves from the Hebrew Israelite, the true righteous women, because that's how they got their clientele. That's how men were able to distinguish who was who. So that was the purpose of that time and why the heads were covered. So it separated the temple prostitutes from the righteous Hebrew Israelite princesses. Okay, so let's go to verse 6. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. So let's read that in New Living Translation. Yes, if she refuses to wear a head covering, she should cut off all her hair. But since it is shameful for a woman to have her hair cut or her head shaved, she should wear a covering. Now, let me share this. This is, remember, I want to continue to remind you, this is during the time, this is the Church of Corinth, and the purpose of that. And, I have some beautiful sisters that have their hair shaved, and they're beautiful. And they're about this truth and this word. And I have some that, do have their hair is wrapped, and I have some that don't. Sometimes I wrap my hair, sometimes I don't. You see me in braids, I have my braids because, I've been trying to go to the gym. So, so look at today. So like I said, we see, look at what's happening in the world though today. We have women that got their hair weaved down to their butts and all these things, and they're half naked, they stripping, they twerking for likes, they are money, doing all these things to make money, talking about their private parts. There's nothing left to the imagination. There's nothing left for the men are to be surprised of. Everything's already put out there for them to see, right? So this is our modern day. This is the modern day of back then. We are set apart, sisters, as Hebrew Israelite princesses. And the reason of that being set apart is because of our hearts and our character. That's how we distinguish the difference today. Okay, so let's go to verse 7. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of power, but the woman is the glory of the man. So our kings and men of the Lord are the glory of Yahweh Shai. We are the glory of our men and kings. And if you don't have a man or a king yet, a man of the Lord, a king, you will, because they are our coverings, right? So we are to conduct ourselves in the way that Yahweh Shai want us to do. Because of us being the glory of our men, our actions and our conduct, they get judged on that. They get judged on how we act. They get judged on how we carry ourselves. Our men do, because we're their glory, right? So let's go to the Apocrypha. And we're going to go to Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, either the same, depending on which Apocrypha you have. And we're going to go to chapter 25, and we're going to read verse 17 through 18. Okay, so let's go to the Apocrypha. And we're at Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 25. And we're at verse 17 and 18 is where we're going to read. It says, the wickedness of a woman changes her face and darkens her countenance like sackcloth. Verse 18, her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, shall sigh bitterly. Okay, he is going to straight be disgusted. Okay, like, damn, how did I get stuck with her, right? What did I do to deserve such a wicked woman? As we see in this Bible, it talks about us badly, Okay, that's because we done some wicked things, and those wicked things makes our men of the Lord feel ashamed. They don't even want to be around us. They don't want to even be near us. They don't even want to acknowledge us. Okay, this is why this man sighed. He sighed like, damn. Here we go. They talking about her again. Her attitude, her mouth is reckless. She's nasty. She doesn't clean up. Okay, she doesn't take care of the household. She doesn't honor her king. She doesn't. She's always belittling him. She's always talking bad about him. She always feels like we got the boss bitch mentality, right? So feeling ashamed to have us on their arms, and we shouldn't have that. That's not how we conduct ourselves. But however, that's how some have, right? We are to be their peace, and we are to be their joy. We're not to be their shame, not to be someone that they despise and don't want to be around, because they can put us away if need be. Okay, so let's continue going. We're going back to 1 Corinthians chapter 11, and we're at verse 8. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Okay. We are created for men. Okay. For the men of the Most High. They were not created for us. And our sole purpose for us to be created is to be a helpmeet to him, to bear children, to bring forth children into the kingdom, to help support our families, to help him, to encourage him, to uplift him. We're here for them, not the other way around. And some people get it twisted. As growing up, no, I don't need you. I could do better, or we get into that mindset. And I want to stress to you in this moment in time, just reminding you, our men have been through a lot of things as well. They have things that they traumatizing things that they've been through, right? We have also, but remember, they have also as well. They're not outside of where they don't have trauma or they don't have hurt as well. So we have to remember that as women too, because when we're dealing with them, we're putting on our stuff, but yet we're not allowing them to. We're not allowing to hear what they've been through and what they've gone through. Okay, because it's not about us. Like, remember, we're for them. We were created for them, not them created for us. So let's go to Genesis 2:18. Now, I'm saying this is not for your 2/3 or the heathen men. I'm talking about the true men of the Lord, the true men of power, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, okay? This is who I'm speaking of and making the connection to. So we are at Genesis 2 and chapter 2, verse 18. And the Lord power said, it is not good that a man should be alone. I will make an helpmeet for him. And that's what he did. He created us for them. All praises. Now let's go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 11, and we're at verse 9. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angels. Now let's go to the New Living Translation for that. For this reason, and because the angels are watching, a woman should wear a covering on her head to show she's under authority. Now, this is back, like I said, in the time with Paul and the Church of Corinth, okay? We have our coverings as our men of the Lord. They're our coverings. But however, during this time, the covering was us wrapping our heads as well. And so Paul knew that there were angels. So angels were always around watching the behavior and the characteristics and watching to see what everyone is doing. The angels are still present to this day. Okay. So when they saw that a woman was uncovered and using the name of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, or using the name of our Father, he would there would be a report that go back to our power. Now, because they were looking like the pagan women at the time. So right now we are still in physical captivity. If you choose to be covered, sisters, I'm not trying to say that, you know, if you cut your hair short, you're not of power. I'm not saying if you're not covered, or if you're covered, you're not of power. By no means. Like I said, it's based off your heart, your faith, your trust, and your character this day. Okay. So it is not mandatory at this time. But however, once we get back to our kingdom, once we get back to our community, then we'll be going back to our customs will be reinforced during that time, because we'll be together as a community and as a body. So if you feel convicted to do so, you can do that. You can wear your hair covered. By all means, no one's saying not to do that. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. I'm not saying that. Like I said, I have some beautiful sisters that cut their hair. I got some beautiful sisters. We could do anything. We can transform. We be whatever it is that we want to be. That doesn't take away of who we are. Your character, your spirit, your way you present yourself, your faith, your trust in Yahweh Shai, how you treat your family, how you treat your sisters, how you treat your brothers. That's what matters now. Okay. All praises. So the angels during this time would report on what they see. They would go up to power and they'll tell them what they see. So when women were not covered during this time, they, you know, would get in trouble. They would have to face their judgment of that, because it was hard to decipher, like, are you for Yahweh Shai? Do you believe in me, or are you one of those typical prostitutes? You can't sit there and be, saying you're this and you're not, and your character is not exemplifying that. So the Most High is going to get the word, and He's going to expose whoever it is. He's going to let it be known. Okay, He's going to let that individual or the people know that this person is not who they say they are. We've seen that in the body several times of the royal house of David, that people have been moved and removed from the body. Okay. So let's go to some precepts. Let's go to Matthew 18 and 10. Matthew 18, chapter 18 and verse 10. And it reads, "Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you, that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven." New Living Translation says, "Beware that you don't look down on any of these little ones. For I tell you that in heaven their angels are always in the presence of my heavenly Father." All praises. Now let's go to Job chapter 16, verse 19. Job 16 and 19. We have another precept. And it reads, "Also behold, my witness is in heaven, and my record is on high." Power is taking notes. Those angels are taking notes, and they're taking up to our Father, and as we speak. So though we can't think that whatever our discussions, our conversations are, the way we act, what we say, what we do, we can't say that it's not something that He's not going to know. He's going to know, and He's taking record of that. And if anyone's not living or believing or trusting or having the faith in Yahweh Shai, it is noted and documented, and will be judged for that. Okay, so let's go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 11, and we're at verse 11. And it reads, "Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in the Lord." New Living Translation, "But among the Lord's people, women are not independent of men, and men are not independent of women." Okay, so a man and woman are equally important and needed to bring forth children. Okay, we need each other to do that. We need each other to build the kingdom. We need each other to procreate. Okay, so let's go to 1 Timothy 2 and 15 as a precept. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. And it reads, "Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing, if they continued in faith, charity, and holiness and sobriety, okay? We are saved through bearing children. We are saved through our kings and our men of the Lord, okay? And we have to recognize that. Okay, so New Living Translation for that. But women will be saved through childbearing, assuming they continue to live in faith, love, holiness, and modesty. Okay, we got to continue to keep that faith, and we got to continue to show love. Let's go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 11. And we're at verse 12. And it reads, "For as the woman is the man, even so is the man, also by the woman, but all things of power." So the man has no way to enter this world but through a woman now. That's through birth. And so, however, in the beginning, woman was created from man, right? So we were created from man so that we can now start birthing and bringing men into the world. So the Most High took man, he took his rib, and he created us, the woman, so that now the man can be birthed into the world by a woman. All praises. Okay, so we read this in Genesis 2 and 18. We just read about that. So now let's go back to, we're in verse 13 of 1 Corinthians chapter 11. "Judging yourselves, is it comely that a woman pray unto power uncovered?" So during the time of the Apostle Paul, all women covered their heads. And these were the women that were separating themselves from the temple prostitutes because they shaved their heads. For a woman's head to be covered, it went against the custom, okay? Now, it went against the custom. These are the ones that were the true Hebrew Israelites, princesses that were worshiping and believing and have faith in Yahweh Yahushua. It separated us from the temple prostitutes, okay? I just want to stress that during this time. So let's go to verse 14. "Doth not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him?" Okay, so we have some dudes walking around with long hair. So I remember my growing up, DJ Quick. Okay, DJ Quick came out. He had the flat iron, the hair, it was flowing. It was nice, right? We see even Snoop Dogg sometimes. He used to have his hair flat iron price. But when you're walking and you're turned around, it's hard to decipher if that's a man or a woman. You can't really tell the difference now. And, now we have all this other stuff that's coming into play. You can't really tell the difference if it's really a man or a woman. The Most High says that their dudes are looking like women, okay? And that's not so. And it talks about this here. It's a disgrace for that, to have that happen for a man, because it's hard to decipher, to separate it. So they are getting silk presses, they're getting flat irons, they got ponytails, which is feminine. And the Father says that in here. It's a feminine spirit, right? So let's go to Numbers chapter 6, and we're going to read verse 1 through 5. Numbers chapter 6, and we're going to read verse 1 through 5. And it reads, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow of a Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Lord, he shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine, or vinegar of strong drink, neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes or dried." Verse 4, "All the days of his separation shall he eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels, even the husk." In verse 5, "All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head until the days be fulfilled, in the which he separateth himself unto the Lord. He shall be holy, and shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow." Okay, so that is why Yahweh Shai never put a razor to his head. It's because he was a Nazarite. And under the Levitical law, it was a command given to Moses that men of Nazareth should not put a razor to their head. So that's why Yahweh Shai did not put one to his, because he was a Nazarite. Okay, so now let's go to the interlinear, and we're going to look up locks. Okay, interlinear. So I'm in my blue letter Bible. So we're going to be wordsmiths. We get that. That's Katie said, be a wordsmith. We're going to be wordsmith. So let's go to the interlinear and we're going to look up locks. Okay, it's coming. Interlinear. We're going to look up locks. Okay, let me see if you can see that. Okay, my screen is kind of greasy from my fingers. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, and of course it's going to be backwards because, you know, screen. So it says para. See, para, P-E-R-A, and it's pronounced para. You see the pronunciation of it. So it shows there. That's the Hebrew translation of locks. Is para. Okay. Now we're going to scroll up, and I'm trying to show you. And it says here, it has outline of biblical usage. It says hair long of head, locks, right? And then if you go further down, the Strong's Dictionary, it says para, and it means the hair as disheveled locks, okay? I know it's backwards, but want to show you guys that. You can see it, translation on there. So para means locks. So when we see that, you know, in Hebrew, it's masculine. I also want to show you that. So when you get a chance, go to interlinear and look what it says. It says masculine. Okay. So that means that it's, you know, it's a manly name, locks. So disheveled. Okay. So disheveled means untidy, disordered. Locks on men are acceptable, because I know we have some brothers that have some locks. I have some sons that got their hair locked, as long as they're not feminine, because they're considered to be disheveled. That's what locks mainly is. And so it's acceptable. You know, there was a question about that, because some have them long. As long as it's not where you turn into where it's feminine. You want to continue to keep it a masculine way, your locks, right? So now women, we do not keep our heads disheveled. No. Okay. When we as women, we'll get braids. We do whatever it is before we leave that house. We even wrap our head up. Whatever we need to do before they leave the house. We're not going to go leaving the house looking our hair any type of way, right? That's something that we don't do. And that's not something how we were raised. We just make sure that we are, you know, kept together. So that's how the difference of it is. Even my sisters that do have locks, they always keep their locks tight, whether they have their head wraps, whatever they choose to do. But we always make sure that we keep ourselves together. Okay. So let's go down to verse 15. We're going back to 1 Corinthians chapter 11, and I'm at verse 15. Checking our time. Verse 15. But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given for a covering. Okay. So the temple prostitute has short hair, which was a part of their ritual. They chose to cut their hair short. This is in Corinth. Okay. This is back during the time of Paul. For the righteous Hebrew Israelite woman, the glory was her hair, because it separated her from the temple prostitutes. It separated her from, you know, the 2/3 and the heathens at this time. Don't think how that you have to walk around now with your head covered or uncovered. You can choose to do what it is that you choose to do. It is in your heart. It's your heart that matters. It's your faith that matters. It's your trust that matters. It's your character that matters today. Okay. I want to stress that, because this was in Corinth. You know, I don't want any sisters to be like, oh man, you know, because we done faced some judgment I know I faced some of that as well. I would just want to stress that they were heavy on the streets, the prostitutes at this time. So it had to be something put in place to show the difference between the two at this time. They were roaming the streets all the time. So there had to be a show of separation, which was the covering. They shaved their heads to bring about customers, to attract more customers. The customers knew who they were when they saw their shaved heads. The woman that loved Lord during this time, their heads, they had to show that they believed in the Most High. It was the way that they knew that who we believed in and who we know, right? That meant they had husbands. Okay, they had husbands as well, and they honored their head. Their head were their kings. All praises. So in modern time, that's why I was talking about the head wraps. You have Muslims. You have just regular women. You have some 2/3. You have some heathens. You have them that wrap their heads up. You have, because wraps are cute. It's a style. Some people, it's a fad now. However, it's becoming, it has no bearing in this society right now, because there are some women that wear their head wrap. It's probably just as, I've seen some women hair wrap and they just nasty and mean, and they don't believe in this truth either. So there's a difference. So that's why I'm saying it's important. It's more based on your character and your personality and how you choose, how you that distinguish you, that separates you, how you carry yourself, how you act, how you love your sister, how you love your brother, how you treat your king, how you treat your children. Do you believe in Yahweh Shai with your heart, soul, mind, and spirit? Do it show, do it exudes, okay? That's what separates you from, the women now, okay? So this is going to be a two-parter. I'm going to stop this one right here, and I'm going to come back with part 2 of 1 Corinthians chapter 11. I love you, sisters. I'll be right back. Shalom.